think of an I Want song, what comes to mind? Maybe it's The Wizard and I from Wicked, or maybe it's When Will My Life Begin from Tangled. The possibilities are endless. For me, it's gotta be Part of Your World. Despite this being one of Disney's best I Want songs to this date, there was a time where it was almost cut from the movie entirely. Fortunately, Howard Ashman and the rest of the creative team insisted that it stay in. And it's a good thing too, because Part of Your World is the most influential song in this film. And let's figure out why. Part of Your World signifies who Ariel is, as a person or mermaid or whatever, reinforcing her curiosity for the real world. And it does so by showing the audience the extent of her fixation, letting us know that this isn't some willy-nilly hobby that she studies on the weekends. It's much more than that. She's fully invested in the surface world's culture. Look how many knickknacks are in her collection. That is years worth of her time collecting. And although we've seen her fight a shark for a fork, or in this movie's case, a dinglehopper, no other scene shows her knowledge and intrigue for the surface world than when she sings Part of Your World. In this moment, we finally see Ariel for who she truly is, becoming vulnerable enough to tell us her whims. We learn that she isn't someone who wants to settle down and sing songs with her sisters for the rest of her life. No, her desires are much more than that. Ariel wants to be a bright young woman who stands on her own. She set her mind on going somewhere that no other mermaid has gone before. And those ambitious ideas of going out and seeing the world are what some of us may want to do as well. This one song adds so many layers to Ariel, and it makes her such an interesting character. And if they would have pulled the plug on it, we wouldn't have words that align with her feelings, nor would we know the extent of her motivation. Looking deeper, the surface world isn't a means of escape from her underwater life or her family. She deeply cares about her underwater culture. Maybe a little less in the sequel, but that's another topic for another day. And she loves her father very much, even if he can be a little temperamental. Those things still matter to her, but her main drive is her curiosity and her thirst for knowledge. Now, skipping forward a little bit, Ariel sees Eric, the ship catches on fire, and yada yada yada, bing bam boom, we hit the reprise of Part of Your World. With one key difference. First version always refers to the surface world as that world. It's a little weird because the title of the song is Part of Your World, but the only time that word is mentioned is when she sings, "Flipping your fins, you don't get too far." The first song tells us that she only has this idea to want to go to the surface. Saving Eric is the catalyst that changes the that to your. Now she finally has a concrete tether to the surface world. She's questioning what she's willing to pay to have that dream come to fruition. Let's take a look at the lyrics. What would I give to live where you are? What would I pay to stay here beside you? What would I do to see you smiling at me? Now, the lengths that she goes are a little dramatic, yes. Striking a deal with the sea witch like Ursula probably wasn't the wisest decision. The most important thing to note is that Ariel's desire has not changed. Remember what we learned in the first song. Her main want is to explore the shores up above. Her desire to be with Eric and her curiosity are one and the same. In the reprise, the only add-on is that now she is questioning what she's willing to give up in order to be part of the surface. So there you have it. Ariel wants to be part of Eric's world. And that's what happens. And everyone lives happily ever after. So I guess that means that's the end of the video. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Did you truly think that was the end of the video? No. You see, we have one more verse to look into. The song on the surface is pointing to Ariel being head over heels in love with Eric. I honestly feel like anyone can see that. She strokes his cheek, and she's singing directly to him. All the signals are pointing to Eric being the your she is referring to. Let's fast forward a little bit. Eric wanders off, and we're left with the most iconic scene in The Little Mermaid, in my opinion. She's on the rock, and she belts out her last note, and the water splooshes behind her. You all know what I'm talking about, unless you haven't seen The Little Mermaid. And then my question becomes, why did you click on this video then? As we watch this scene, we have already narrowed in. Ariel is infatuated with Eric. And here is where Howard Ashman's genius songwriting comes into play. Let's take a look at the lyrics. I don't know where, I don't know how, but I know something is starting right now. Watch and you'll see, someday I'll be part of your world. Now, if we've already established who Ariel is referring to, then who is she talking to? Eric has left the beach. Sebastian and Flounder are in shock, so they're probably not listening to her. And sure, maybe she's singing to herself, but if she is indeed singing to herself, then why does she sing the line, "Watch and you'll see"? Who is this you she's referring to? Unless she's referring to the audience. Now, I know that's kind of confusing because an I Want song is like a soliloquy in a play, where a character talks or sings their thoughts aloud, and it helps the audience understand the inner workings of that character's mind. But it's also a good time to break the fourth wall, because nobody is expecting it. Now let's go over the lyrics one more time. I don't know where, I don't know how, but I know something is starting right now. Watch and you'll see. Someday I'll be part of your world. Starting with the first two lines, Ariel is in the same boat as the audience. She doesn't know where or how this story is gonna play out. Next, we have, but I know something is starting right now. When you look at the plot of The Little Mermaid thus far, nothing has really happened yet. We have been introduced to all of the main characters, and we've established that there are two different worlds, under the sea and the surface world. It's only after Ariel belts her last note in the song that the plot starts to thicken. Moving on, we go to watch and you'll see. Someday I'll be part of your world. This is the most important line in this whole song because it's the hook, line, and sinker. This right here tells the audience, hey, listen, I know you've been watching this movie thus far. If you want to know what's gonna happen to this mermaid lady and if she makes it to the real world, you're gonna have to keep watching. This line is subtle in the ways if you're not really expecting them to break the fourth wall, but it's also kind of one of those blatantly obvious retention hacks. That right there is the moment that hooks the audience to keep watching, to be invested. And that's the genius part about it. Humorous part that I don't think any of the creative team really expected was this movie to become a mega success. Like she promised, she is part of our world. Like you can go to a meet and greet at any Disney park and meet Ariel. This isn't the only time that Howard Ashman actually used this type of hook. He does it again in Beauty and the Beast. Now, when Belle is singing about her favorite book, the lyrics read, "Isn't this amazing? It's my favorite part because you'll see." Here's where she meets Prince Charming, but she doesn't discover that it's him till chapter 3. This is the same exact thing that the Little Mermaid does. On the surface, she's just sharing her thoughts about her favorite book. But if you look a little deeper, it shares a deeper message. One that aligns with the theme of the film. Looks can be deceiving. In Ariel's case, everything she says is factual. You keep watching and she'll be part of our world. Belle's is a little more complex because it plays more into her fixation on fantasy novels. At this moment, she believes that her life is going to be like a fairy tale, and she wants the audience to watch that play out. That doesn't end up happening. She first meets a beast who might not be the handsome prince of her dreams, but over time, she learns that there is much more to him. Now, the fourth wall break is quite a clever thing because it's something unexpected, but it's also the best time to do so. The audience is already hanging on both Ariel and Belle's every word. They're invested and want to know what is going on in their brains. In the reprise of Part of Your World, when she's on top of the rock, she is telling us to listen to what she is saying, and it's up to us to listen or not. And as many times as I've watched this movie, sadly, I was half listening. Once I finally heard what she had to say, this one detail can't be unseen, and that adds to the brilliance of the song Part of Your World. I'm curious, how do you interpret these songs? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're looking for more information about Disney musicals, then why don't you check out this one about Pocahontas right over here. I guess I'll see you when I see you next. All right, bye.